potato.
This afternoon, shocking vision as a 7 News crew's attacked by US police outside the White House, while Donald Trump puts the military on standby, vowing to end riots and looting across his country. The nursing union slams the state government's plan to reinstate voluntary redundancies, why there's pressure on the Reserve Bank to make economic history, plus how the South Coast is preparing for a boost in visitors this long weekend.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Rosanna Mangiarelli.
Good afternoon. The Prime Minister has contacted the Australian Embassy in Washington following the assault of a Channel 7 News crew on the front line of protests in the US capital. These were the scenes earlier today as US correspondent Amelia Brace and her cameraman Tim Myers were attacked by police near the White House. Scott Morrison has asked the Australian Embassy to investigate the incident, and Amelia Brace has more on the shocking attack.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrifying. We are now just a few blocks from where that happened today, and right now we cannot even move in that direction. The Secret Service is outside our hotel room saying that no one is allowed on the streets tonight, including the media, who are usually exempt from the curfew. And the curfew is exactly what the problem was today. It was meant to come into effect at 7 p.m, so plenty of people thought that they were in that public park out the front of the White House safely and legally, including ourselves. But about half an hour before that, this police force moved in a wave. The National Guard was behind us, peppering the crowd with rubber bullets. There was tear gas and just this wall of police officers pushing the crowd away. We thought we would be safe when we ducked around the window, ducked around a corner, assuming that the police would clearly see that we were a media crew that was perfectly entitled to be there, but they did not, and that is when they turned on us.
Here they come again. We're moving back. We're moving back.
This was just minutes after this happened. The President addressed the nation from the Rose Garden using very strong language about using police to crack down on these protests and even threatening to bring in the military. But just after that, there was a really remarkable scene. This is a situation where these streets had just been filled with protesters. They were cleared, and the President walked out of the White House to the Church of the Presidents, which just last night was on fire, and it really was a show of defiance from Donald Trump, and he really used very strong language as he addressed the nation today.
I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters. But in recent days, our nation has been gripped by professional anarchists, violent mobs, arsonists, looters, criminals, rioters.
Well, in terms of state leaders, it really depends what state they're from and whether they are a Democratic or a Republican government. A number of Democrats have already called out Donald Trump, particularly the governor of Maine, who on a fiery phone call this morning suggested that he not visit that state later this week, worried that it would incite protests there. And he basically said, well, if you don't want me there, that's the more reason for me to come. And other people have called for more leadership from the White House rather than these threats of force.
Meanwhile, George Floyd's death has been declared a homicide following an autopsy after he was killed while in police custody. Floyd's family today spoke in Minneapolis, where his brother pleaded for calm.
So what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all doing nothing, because that's not going to bring my brother back at all.
And we'll have more from Minneapolis a little later in the bulletin. And hundreds of people were arrested in Los Angeles yesterday for rioting and looting. People were back on the streets again today, but it was much more peaceful. Paul Caddick is there.
Good
Good afternoon. The protests were largely peaceful here in Los Angeles today, but there were still hundreds of arrests and also more looting, which is why tonight here on the famous Hollywood Boulevard, the National Guard is standing guard. A queue has been in place here for several hours now after earlier a march involving hundreds of people took to these same streets, bringing the Black Lives Matter message to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But sadly, there were those who used the opportunity to raid shops all around this area. Police units trying to chase them out of the region. They've made several arrests. Many of those protesters who simply refused to go home once the curfew came, saying they were prepared to go to jail for the cause. There's also a moment here during the march which had a lot of families and children in attendance. Police officers joining the protesters in taking a knee, what's become a symbolic act of defiance, demanding racial justice. There were protests too in Van Nuys in Los Angeles' northwestern suburbs. Again, there were tense moments between police and protests, and some armed shopkeepers had to drive away would-be looters. With curfews in place, thousands of National Guard troops on the streets, the Los Angeles mayor had this to say to his citizens.
I would say to anybody in pain, I'm in pain. And for us to heal, we have to do the work that this moment demands, that George Floyd's death demands.
While in the Santa Monica area of Los Angeles, scene of so much destruction yesterday, an uplifting scene today. Before dawn, locals, volunteers started showing up to help sweep up the mess and help shopkeepers start their cleanup. While here in Hollywood, the heart of Hollywood, we have the National Guard, police on patrol as Los Angeles spends another night under curfew. Back to you.
Thank you, Paul. And solidarity protests are being held across Europe and other parts of the world. Peaceful protesters raised their fists in the air in Amsterdam, while a small number of demonstrators remain outside the US Embassy in Berlin. In Paris, George Floyd's name has been graffitied next to the River Seine, and a mural has been painted alongside the words "I can't breathe" in Syria. Let's turn back home now, and the Nurses Union fears its members have gone from heroes to zero as the state emerges from the current COVID-19 peak. It claims redundancies are now back in force despite the life-saving frontline duties performed over recent months. Mike Smithson has the latest.
All of our medicos, especially intensive care nurses here at the RIH, have been widely praised during the current crisis.
They've potentially put themselves in harm's way dealing with the great unknowns of COVID-19. But with the state still on notice for a second wave, redundancy plans have been re-implemented.
This is not workforce renewal, this is workforce removal. That is something that in this environment particularly we do not support.
As the Nurses Union voices anger and concern, the Premier was treading carefully at a pedicure parlour today. With the nurses' latest pay deal still being negotiated, he suspects the union's sharpening its nails.
Often in the final stages of a negotiation, we see salvos being fired off.
We need as many high-quality, well-trained nurses working in our hospitals as possible.
The Health Minister was spending rather than saving money, unveiling the first of a $6.4 million ambulance spend. He says future job losses are all voluntary separation packages. He assures there'll be no forced job losses, and those who are helping the fight against coronavirus are safe.
There is no consideration going to be given to any role that's involved in the COVID response or could be involved in the COVID response.
There's a lot at stake here. Nurses want job security, which they fear is risky at best, and the government can't risk losing the goodwill already built up.
A burst fire hydrant flooded a Brompton factory early this morning. With water gushing from the building, Detmold staff spent the day mopping up. The company rapidly switched from making fast food packaging to producing millions of surgical masks in response to COVID-19, but that production hasn't been impacted. The federal opposition's warned the Morrison government must include funds for social housing in a planned economic rescue package for the construction sector. Political correspondent Tim Lester has more from Canberra.
Celebrating new coronavirus milestones and acknowledging new threats. Today, the Health Minister praised Australia reaching 1.5 million COVID-19 tests and the fact just one sufferer is on a ventilator in intensive care. For now, it's the economic dangers that feel uncontrolled.
The pipeline of projects for housing is about to drop off a cliff.
Construction. The government has already confirmed its next stimulus measures will include help for a sector that drives more than 1 million Australian jobs. This morning, Labor moved to shape the debate around housing programs.
If the government announces billions of dollars in housing and can't find 1 cent to put a roof over the head of people who are sleeping in a park tonight, then that'll be a massive missed opportunity.
This as the Arts Minister helped reopen Canberra's National Gallery and confirmed the new stimulus will also target his portfolio.
There's no doubt that the arts sector has been hit very, very hard by COVID-19.
Paul Fletcher says arts funding might go to revenue-starved
organisations and institutions as they think about planning, for example, a new show, a new exhibition.
The government is also assessing the cost of a federal court ruling today. It found that the Gillard government's ban on cattle exports 9 years ago was capricious and unreasonable. And the Northern Territory-based Brett Cattle Company that brought the action is entitled to substantial damages. The Agriculture Minister says the government is working carefully through the judgment before commenting.
Stay with us. Still to come on 7's afternoon news, the last-minute rush as crowds are expected to head to the coast for the long weekend. Visitors return to famous tourist sites as parts of Europe emerge from lockdown. Worried Hong Kong residents queue for British passports. The SpaceX astronauts offer some encouraging words for those back on Earth. And later this hour, the local jobs on offer. Where to look?
So what triggers this guy? Or who?
Everything they've ever learned.
Where else do you go?
Everything they've ever done.
Who else do you hurt?
Has all been leading to this.
Us. They come after us.
The killer final season of Criminal Minds. Tonight at 9 on 7.
Join AHM Hospital and Extras Direct and you'll get 6 weeks free. Plus, we'll waive any 2 and 6 month waits on extras. Whether you're a single, a couple, or a family. It's that simple. That doesn't look very simple. Offer ends June 30. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
Here at Automobiles SA, the home of Rockwell Finance, you'll have access to any number of pre-owned vehicles, each one workshop tested and with a warranty for the term of your loan. Many people have discovered that this is the home of the second chance car loan. And now it's your turn. So come along to Automobiles SA here at Main North Road, Jepps Cross, next to the Mainline Drive-In, or
call the Rockwell Credit Line 8262 8999.
We believe a well-prepared funeral nourishes the soul. Harrison Funerals have been trusted by South Australians for 90 years. Professionalism and first-class care are the hallmark of Harrison Funerals. Celebrate life and nurture precious family memories. Harrison Funerals, providing a beautiful farewell.
Protect your gutters from leaves and debris with All Seasons Gutter Guard. Right now, when you buy 50 metres of All Seasons Gutter Guard, you'll get the first 10 metres free, plus a free gutter clean. Visit allseasonsgutters.com.au.
Roof. Put the seal on your roof and safeguard your biggest asset with a free and thorough roof inspection. Check for cracks, leaks, discoloration and weather damage. If your castle does need a little upkeep, we'll get to work on the outside with you all secure on the inside. We'll top it off with our exclusive roof coating, protecting your roof from even the harshest weather. Seal up, pay later, with no interest ever.
1300 36 7070.
Roof.
With an endless supply of natural gas, you'll never have to stop doing what you love.
like staying in the bath for a never-endingly long time. A long enough time to realise that perhaps time itself isn't long enough.
At Harvey Norman, get a $948 bonus 12-month Foxtel Premium subscription when you spend $4,000 or more on a 65-inch TV from our new 2020 range. Or get a $1,188 bonus 12 months of Foxtel Platinum Plus when you spend $6,000 or more on a 75-inch TV. Foxtel, everything you need in entertainment, drama, movies and sport, live and on demand. Hurry, bonus Foxtel subscription with our 2020 TV range now at Harvey Norman.
After a 10-week hiatus, South Coast tourism operators are preparing to be overrun this long weekend. As Jessica Adamson explains, thousands of visitors are scrambling to book a last-minute getaway.
For the first time in 27 years, the McLaren Vale Sea and Vines Festival won't be held this long weekend, but locals are still expecting big numbers. Normanville's Jetty Caravan Park is getting ready for an influx of visitors from across the state.
We're almost fully booked for the weekend, so yeah, it'll be great.
I think everyone probably wanted to get out of the house for a while, which nobody's been able to do.
Holiday homes and B&Bs right across the region are filling fast, much to the relief of their owners.
After the last few months when we've had nothing, it's been a blessing.
Dozens of cellar doors and restaurants are opening for the first time since the coronavirus crippled their trade.
We're tastings only, but a lot of the other wineries through here will be doing food. So you can have a meal, a cup of coffee, try some wines, obviously buy some wines.
It's been really tough, but we are so excited. We've got a lot of bookings. We're really pleased to welcome people back to the region.
And if the Victory Hotel at Sellex is anything to go by, they'll be run off their feet.
Everyone's come out of the woodwork and they're back.
At 6 tonight, what cellar doors like this one will look like this weekend and how not to miss out.
And Rome's Colosseum has finally reopened to tourists as the coronavirus lockdowns eased in parts of Europe. But as Hugh Whitfield reports, it's being managed very differently and not everyone's allowed in.
Closed for 3 months, people are back at Rome's Colosseum. The ancient site has new health checks for the few hundred people allowed in. They're only locals. International tourists are yet to return to Italy.
Yes, it's emotional because it is a rebirth after a very difficult time for Italy and all the world.
33,000 people have died here from coronavirus. In Spain, it's 27,000. But for the first time since March, no one has died in Spain from COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. In one city, they're hoping to test everyone, believing that's the path out of the pandemic. In Britain, the road to recovery is far slower. Traditional outdoor markets are back on the street for the first time in 10 weeks. Some students are allowed back at school. But concern remains that Britain, with a death toll approaching 40,000, is moving too soon.
I don't imagine that there's a Director of Public Health in the country who's not concerned about what might happen next.
Some fear a second peak of the virus is on its way. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Russia's Vladimir Putin has taken a big step towards securing his presidency for another 16 years. In a video call with electoral and health officials, the longtime leader named July 1 as the date for a constitutional reform plebiscite. The original vote was postponed because of coronavirus, and critics say it's still too risky to reschedule. Long queues have formed in Hong Kong as residents seek to take Britain up on an offer which could eventually give them citizenship there. It follows a controversial move by China to tighten power in the territory. Crowds are applying for or renewing British national passports. China is infuriated by the proposal, which could give holders extended rights to live in the UK. And the astronauts from the weekend's historic SpaceX launch have shared some encouraging words during troubled times back on Earth.
Anything is possible. You know, we've had a really rough couple of months, and just to be able to show the country what the agency's made of.
The journey is NASA's first crewed mission from the United States in around a decade. And now let's check in with Nikki on what's coming up in sport, Nikki.
Well, Rosanna, with just a couple of contact sessions allowed per week at AFL clubs, the Crows are certainly making every moment count. Defender Tom Doedee needed some running repairs after today's aggressive hit-out. Plus, our Aussie team pursuit riders are more determined than ever to continue their dominance in track's blue ribbon event. They've just got a lot longer to wait now until they can attempt to wrestle back their world record from the Danes at next year's Olympics, and we'll have all that and lots more in sport. Rosanna?
We'll catch you then. Thank you, Nikki. Also ahead on 7's afternoon news, shock results. An autopsy finds a Queensland man didn't die from COVID-19. A burst water main floods a northern suburbs home for the second time in 3 months. Pressure on the Reserve Bank to consider negative interest rates. The new player set to shake up local streaming services. And village demolition, the German musicians fighting back with song.
Are our truckers the ones that'll need rescuing?
Hey, hell, it's not. Mate, I haven't had a shower since I left.
New Outback Truckers, tonight on Mate.
Extend your living space outdoors with a pergola, patio or deck from Australian Outdoor Living. Secure a great deal on our range of custom solutions during our end of financial year sale. Increase the value of your home and gain priceless living space with an expertly installed patio or deck. Make the right choice. Add a pergola, patio or deck to your home with Australian Outdoor Living.
Australian Outdoor Living.
Oh, an ensuite. No, you're right. I couldn't afford it on my own. Actually, you did. What? I'm you, 3 months from now. All it took was a call to home start. Incredible. Look, hun! It's us! From the future. Sophie?
With Home Start's range of loan options, you could make a fresh start sooner.
Wish you had internet that didn't let you down? That doesn't leave you hanging and won't have you missing any of the action? Get Vodafone NBN with 4G backup. Plans start from just $55 a month. And with free express delivery, connect instantly once you receive it. Buy online today at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
Roof. Safeguard your biggest asset with a free roof inspection. If your castle does need a little upkeep, we'll top it off with our exclusive roof coating. Seal up, pay later with no interest ever.
1336 7070. Roof.
At Harvey Norman, get up to $500 of bonus gift cards on Intel laptops. Get a $100 bonus gift card with this Lenovo IdeaPad laptop, now only $999. A bonus $200 gift card with this Asus VivoBook Flip laptop for $1,499. Or a bonus $400 gift card with this HP Pavilion laptop featuring the latest 10th Gen Intel Core i7 processor. Up to $500 of bonus gift cards on Intel laptops, now at Harvey Norman.
Did you know that a healthy diet and exercise are key to managing osteoarthritis? But on days where pain gets in the way, find relief with Nurofen from Terry White Chemmart. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation, relieving osteoarthritis flare-up pain for up to 8 hours. Right now at Terry White Chemmart, Nurofen 96 caplets and tablets are just $13.99 each. Nurofen and Terry White Chemmart. Now that's real chemistry.
The Australian Outdoor Living sale is on now. Be quick to secure your stylish and modern outdoor blinds. Entertain all year round with better outdoor protection. Make the right choice with outdoor blinds from Australian Outdoor Living.
The Queensland Government has apologised for wrongly naming a man as being the country's youngest COVID-19 death. Nathan Turner died last week and tested positive, sparking a major health operation, but that test has now been proven wrong. Joel Dry has more.
For the family of Nathan Turner, it has been a painful week, not just because they have been experiencing the loss of the 30-year-old, but also the stress created by the speculation that he was Australia's youngest COVID-19 case. That has now been debunked with an autopsy on his body showing that he does not have the virus. The government says that they stand by their decision-making at the time and the large public health response. They say that the initial test taken post-mortem after he died returned a positive COVID-19 test, and we may now never know if he in fact ever had the virus.
We're very sorry for the distress that the family is going through at the moment and has experienced.
This situation also presents difficulty because the government has been proactive in criticising a Rockhampton nurse who was suspected as being the source of the Blackwater case.
The nurse in Rockhampton has changed her story multiple times. That's on the record.
This whole situation calls into question many tests, but the government maintains that false positives are extremely rare.
A Para Hills husband and wife say they're fed up after a main burst flooded their property for the second time this year. Water streamed into the front hallway and garage of their Robert Court home this morning.
I said myself, oh my God, not again. And this time it was much worse than the first time.
Luckily, the couple had moved their valuables to higher ground before this morning's burst. There's pressure on the Reserve Bank to make economic history and consider negative interest rates. It comes as the RBA left rates on hold. Network Finance reporter Gemma Acton reports.
Well, as widely expected, the Reserve Bank kept the official cash rate on hold today at the record low level of 0.25%, with Governor Philip Lowe reiterating the board will continue to hold rates for as long as is necessary. In today's statement, the board pointed to many of the challenges facing Australia, such as the largest decline in economic growth since the 1930s and more than 600,000 people losing their jobs, but also acknowledged that the situation looks a little less bleak than it did a month ago, given progress over bringing the pandemic under control and lockdown restrictions being eased earlier than had been anticipated. While RBA Governor Philip Lowe has repeatedly shut down talk of interest rates being slashed to zero, it has not stopped some economists calling for the central bank to consider going even further and introducing negative interest rates. Supporters of this idea say it'll help homeowners and businesses to manage their debt while our economy finds its feet in the wake of the coronavirus crisis. But opponents say it will bring more problems than benefits. In other economic news, consumer confidence has risen for the 9th week in a row, but despite that, it's still languishing well below average levels.
It's no surprise the COVID lockdown has given a major boost to entertainment streaming services such as Netflix and Stan, but you might be interested to learn about some lesser-known streaming services and what they offer.
Netflix has a lot of original content, but not a huge back catalogue. You see, Binge has a huge back catalogue, but also are introducing new content as well.
Tonight in 7 News at 6, we'll look at whether you're paying the right price for the right content. A German village threatened with demolition to make room for a coal mine is fighting back with music. 50 musicians set up at sites around the village to play Beethoven. The village is set to be destroyed to make way for an open-pit coal mine in Germany's Rhineland region. And still to come on 7's Afternoon News, we'll cross live to ComSec for the latest on your money. Also coming up, the latest on the race riots in the United States, an emotional response but further criticism for a government minister over the death of Anne-Marie Smith. The Adelaide businesses desperately seeking staff during the pandemic. And can mind games improve goal-kicking accuracy?
For your official local source of COVID-19 information and the range of support services available, go to sa.gov.au.
The front bar is back.
If you are looking for earnest discussion or a level of sensitivity about the coronavirus, this show may not be for you.
How old are you there, Michael? 12. I've got twin boys and I think that's how it started. Oh, get out of it, you pink maggot!
When Elaine throws the bouquet in the air, two of the girls are going to have to nominate who goes up.
But the pub's closed down.
Judging by that performance, NIDA was closed as...
The front bar is back. Thursday on 7.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
The Posture Care Chair Company has been making chairs locally, employing South Australians for over 40 years. Our patented comfort technology is internationally recognized in aged care seating, allowing us to build a chair to address your exact needs and guarantees you comfort like no other. Every chair is uniquely tailor-made. And right now, get $400 trade-in on your old chair. Experience the bespoke difference. The Posture Care Chair Company, the best seat in the house.
He knows he's the most important person in the family, but he doesn't know what strong urinary flow means. Cats don't always know what's good for them. Lucky you do. Optimum Urinary Care Formula.
Little things add up in retirement. Are you confident you can pay for them? Using part of your super or savings, invest in a Challenger lifetime annuity and you'll enjoy guaranteed income for life. Find out more at challenger.com.au.
Come on, everyone!
Donate some of your data to kids who need it most and power their potential.
Shut up and take my money.
Walk on, Littlehampton bricks and pavers.
Starting a new paving project at home? Then see Littlehampton for SA's leading clay pavers. Nothing beats Littlehampton pavers' rich colours and textures.
Littlehampton bricks and pavers, walk on.
America at war.
Being indiscriminate at the moment.
You'll get all the facts on 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Welcome back to 7's Afternoon News. Now let's recap our top story. The Prime Minister has taken action after a 7 News crew was assaulted by US police during protests in Washington DC. Correspondent Amelia Brace and her cameraman Tim Myers were attacked during a live on-air report. Scott Morrison has contacted the Australian Embassy in Washington asking for an investigation.
Should be certainly making representation on behalf of these Australians who effectively have been assaulted. That's what it is, for doing their job.
We're very concerned always about the safety of Australians overseas.
Shortly after the attack, it became clear officers were clearing the way for the US President to leave the safety of the White House for a photo opportunity. And US Bureau Chief Ashley Mullaney has more.
As tensions flare across the United States, our own team has seen just how hostile and volatile the situation is on the ground right now. The vision of Amelia Brace and Timothy Myers outside the White House speaks for itself. It is nothing short of abhorrent and a deeply disturbing use of force by police today. Amelia and Tim were both lawfully reporting on the protests outside the White House this afternoon when half an hour before the curfew, police moved forward toward the crowd. They were caught in the middle of it before being hit with a shield. Amelia struck with a baton. We understand that the Prime Minister has spoken to the embassy in Washington to have the matter investigated and has reached out to Channel 7 to check on Amelia and Tim's welfare. Both of them are doing fine now, but this has been moved through those channels. Now here on the ground in Minneapolis, a 7th day of unrest, but largely peaceful protests today. And we saw an incredibly powerful moment here at the site where George Floyd was killed at the hands of Minneapolis police. He came here to see the crowd, to send a message not only to this city but to America to end the violence, the arson, the looting, and to instead vent their anger and frustration by voting.
So if I'm not over here wilding out, if I'm not over here blowing up stuff, if I'm not over here messing up my community, then what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all doing nothing.
after a medical examiner's report determined that George Floyd's death was not the result of strangulation. The Floyd family organised their own independent autopsy, which was returned today, saying that he did in fact die of asphyxiation as a result of that police officer having kneeled on his neck for almost 9 minutes with 2 other officers on his back too. His death has now been deemed a homicide. That officer, Derek Chauvin, will face court on Monday for third-degree murder and manslaughter, the same day that George Floyd will be laid to rest in Houston.
Back home, and the Minister responsible for Disability Services has choked back tears while addressing Parliament on the death of Anne-Marie Smith. But Michelle Lensink's copped further criticism for failing to shut down the care provider at the centre of the tragedy. Andrea Nicholas has more.
2 weeks after Anne-Marie Smith was found dead in horrific conditions, the Human Services Ministers made an emotional address to Parliament about what's being done to fix the broken system. The minister's been under pressure to explain how the 54-year-old was able to suffer septic shock, multiple organ failure and malnourishment whilst under care.
She should have been visiting friends or libraries or local cafes, leading a life we all take for granted.
A task force established by the state government is due to report its initial findings on June the 15th. But today the Premier wouldn't say if its terms of reference have been approved.
How could the Premier establish a task force, set a deadline for the task force, without reviewing the terms of reference for the task force and know whether or not the task force even has those terms of reference?
We want to keep the scope of this task force broad. They don't want to play politics. Order. They want to get answers. They don't want to play politics. They want to get answers.
The Shadow Human Services Ministers also demanding answers about why the provider responsible for Ms Smith's care hasn't been shut down.
I'm worried for all people who are under the care of Integrity Care, and I would encourage them all to reach out and to ensure that they are getting the right support.
Today it refused to take questions when approached by 7 News.
Well, it's time you asked us some questions about it, isn't it?
Thank you.
Do you think that it should be shut down?
Today the Police Commissioner confirmed the major crime investigation into Ms Smith's death will look at both individuals and organisations who had a role in her care.
Thank you, Andrea. Let's check finance now with James Tao at CommSec. Good afternoon there, James. How did local investors react to the Reserve Bank's rate decision today?
Yeah, very good afternoon to you as well, Rosanna. The investors were relatively happy with that particular decision. Of course, the RBA leaving rates on hold at record lows at 0.25%. We saw the Aussie market actually hit session highs about an hour after that rate was handed down. Basically, lower interest rates for longer is a good sign for markets, but also the accompanying statement from Philip Lowe, the governor, also had a bit of an upbeat tone, so that was also seen as a positive. We did see most sectors improving today, although some of the heavyweights were a bit of a drag. Miners, energy and also healthcare in negative territory, but some of the smaller sectors like IT, industrials and also consumer discretionary, so some of the retailers also having a stronger session today to really help the market end in positive territory. The Aussie dollar was also firmer. It's around the best levels in about 4 months at 68 US cents. Rosanna.
Thank you very much, James. As life starts getting back to normal, the struggle is far from over for thousands of workers laid off in the COVID crisis. But there's a growing number of businesses and individuals looking to recruit, advertising jobs in their local area on Facebook. And as Tim Yateman reports, there are plenty of opportunities in Adelaide South for unskilled workers.
While some businesses are struggling through COVID-19, others are flourishing and are desperately looking for staff. This popular butcher at Seaford employs 18 workers. With cooking at home more popular than ever, meat has been flying off the shelves. The shop's been so busy, owner Sam urgently needs to expand her workforce. And with thousands of southern suburbs locals out of work, there's been no shortage of interest, most of which has stemmed from a rapidly growing Facebook group with 17,000 members dedicated to connecting people out of work with businesses looking for staff.
We've actually just recently advertised looking for apprenticeship, a new apprentice. We've been absolutely, as you can imagine, inundated with applications, and it's been fantastic. We've had, everything from school-aged kids right through to mature age that are looking for a change of career or have perhaps been let go due to COVID.
Christie Downs pizza shop owner Hannah Haddad is also taking advantage of social media. He's been inundated with applicants for delivery driver and kitchen hand positions since posting an ad on the popular Facebook page.
Facebook, it's very, very easy access for people to go in. Everyone has an account.
Truck drivers, baristas and hairdressers are also in hot demand. Experts say while it is tough to find work in these times, there are jobs out there, especially if you're willing to try something new.
As we prepare for footy to make a comeback, researchers at Flinders University are trying to unlock the magic formula to improve accuracy in front of goals.
Massive implications for players, but also for coaches, because it might change the way in which we train set-shot goal kicking.
So tonight at 6, we'll explain how goal kicking could be just as much in the mind as the body, which is rather fascinating, isn't it, Nikki? And I didn't know. Apparently set-shot accuracy is like something ridiculous, like 50%, which is so low.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it? Surely the more you practice, the more confident you feel, and
you'd
more
think.
they'll go through.
And I bet the Crows were having a bit of a session today practicing their goals. They got stuck into their match day drills as well.
Yeah, well, all the AFL teams are making up for lost time
Sure
and
are.
trying to make every single moment count. It's only 11 days until showdown.
Very close.
Also coming up, a Hawks great named the 29th legend in the Australian Football Hall of Fame, and our Aussie team pursuit riders intent on snatching back the world record.
We're actually in the grand final, the big JF.
Over 3 massive nights.
Teams, welcome to House Rules Grand Final.
Bring it in, boys!
It's the epic Grand Final Challenge.
Here we go, eh?
Let's go! One team will be crowned House Rules champions.
House Rules Grand Final Challenge. Tonight, 7:30.
Are you ready to get back to life as you love it? Get full digital news access plus weekend home paper delivery for just $5 a month for the first 3 months. Call 1-800-323-555 today.
From home time to sleepy time, IKEA designs around life's precious moments. So make mess, mohawks, and laugh until your belly hurts. Because with IKEA, there really is no place like home.
Being stuck at home doesn't have to mean being stuck for things to do. Because if you take a look around, there's inspiration everywhere. Ryobi One Plus U equals endless possibilities. Available at bunnings.com.au.
In need of some bold new matte colours? Try Revlon's lipsticks from Chemist Warehouse. The non-drying formula is infused with hydrating ingredients. Revlon's super lustrous matte lipsticks are $14.99 each. Live, look, feel fabulous at Chemist Warehouse.
Technology, ethically made, organic bamboo, craftsmanship, first pair guarantee.
Dude, there's just an underwear ad.
Get them online at step1.life and never cheap again.
Amongst conflict and epidemics, we are there. Our medical teams are drawing on years of experience to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, but not without you. Help us protect the most vulnerable in our projects. Donate now.
At HCF, Australia's largest not-for-profit health fund, we've always put our members first, knowing the importance of care when it counts, and it's never counted more than now. That's why we're giving eligible members access to a wider range of treatment options at no extra cost in the comfort and security of your own home. Vital health services such as chemo, complex wound care and intravenous antibiotics, so you can still receive quality care without having to visit a hospital, because uncertain times call for uncommon care.
At Image Robes, you can get built-in robes designed, made and installed on a budget to suit you. Image Robes are the manufacturers, so there's no middleman. Choose from a range of door finishes, including mirrored, with over 40 colours to choose from. Full 10-year warranty. New full-face drawer system with steel sides, 16mm base and silver anodised handles, plus soft closing options, all on a budget to suit you. Call or visit Image Robes for an in-home measure and quote today.
with a world of knowledge.
The black drongo is a bird species native to which continent? Stop the clock. You flaming drongo.
New The Chase, weekdays on 7.
Hello again, and two Crows young guns have been left a little worse for wear after another testing physical session at Westlakes. Rory Atkins says the Crows have to hit the ground running with Showdown 48 only 11 days away.
Time may change them, but the Crows can't waste time. With only 2 contact sessions a week, they have to make them count.
We've just been focusing on match play stuff, but at the intensity that's required for game day. So our contest, attack and defence stuff like having game-like hit-outs on the weekend. So big contact session today, a bit lighter on Thursday with some skills and stuff. But yeah, we're cracking into the match stuff because we need to hit the ground running.
That intensity left a couple of Crows in need of some running repairs. Star defender Tom Duday shook off a head clash with Ben Davis, the latter left with a cut above his right eye. But both players got on with the job. This grab from Duday showed he's more than ready for next Saturday's showdown. Lockie Murphy was punching above his weight in this contest with Riley O'Brien, and Atkins is keen for the fan ban to extend for another few weeks at least.
It is a bit comforting not hearing 50,000 people call me when I miss a kick. So.
Atkins is out of contract at the end of the season. He'll have to wait until a new pay deal is struck between the Players Association and the league. Not that it bothers him.
If it was a normal season, I know that a contract could be done, but now it can't. So you know that the only possible thing that you can do to better yourself is play footy.
Theodoropoulos, 7 News.
Saints recruit Brad Hill respects former Power star Chad Wingard's self-imposed media ban in response to the coverage of protests in the US. Hill says more needs to be done to stamp out racism in Australia.
Don't expect to see Wingard front up for a media spot anytime soon. The 26-year-old made a statement via Twitter that he couldn't trust mainstream media and is sending a message by staying silent.
I respect his decision, and I can't do nothing about it, and that's the way he feels. So yeah, that's his own opinion. It's not blacks versus whites. It's it's everyone else versus racism. So it's something that's getting better over here, but there's still stuff that does go on, and hopefully can get better.
Alistair Clarkson says the foundation of Hawthorn's modern-day success was built by club great John Kennedy Sr. The 3-time premiership coach was elevated to legend status in the Australian Football Hall of Fame.
He's left a legacy at this club that has just carried on generation after generation.
St Kilda champ Lenny Hayes was inducted into the Hall of Fame with 6 more inductees to be announced over the coming days. At the Cats, Geelong star Jack Stephen has returned to main training for the first time since he was stabbed, and Isaac Heaney will spend even more time in the Swans forward line after Lance Franklin's hamstring injury.
Really stands out in terms of his overall ability. His strength, speed, endurance. He's a tremendous athlete. No doubt he'll probably spend a bit more time forward.
Andrew Hayes, 7 News.
Sports stars across the globe are using their profile to call for justice for George Floyd. Liverpool players took a knee around the centre square at Anfield as a show of solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. And as violent protests continue across the United States, a host of prominent black athletes, including Serena Williams, Michael Jordan and Lewis Hamilton, have expressed anger and frustration at what they say is an ingrained racism in society. Well, plans to revamp Melbourne's Spring Racing Carnival this year have divided the industry. The Victorian Owners and Trainers Associations have condemned a proposal to move the Caulfield Cup to late November following the Melbourne Cup, but it has received the support of champion trainer Lee Friedman.
I think if they knock back doing any sort of change this year, it would be a mistake. I think it's just the right time to do it.
Critics say moving the Caulfield Cup would ruin the national racing calendar. Well, cycling now, and after their world record was shattered at the World Championships earlier this year, our Australian team pursuit riders insist their dominance of track's Blue Ribbon event isn't over. They've now reset for Tokyo 2021 and believe they can go even faster.
For now, Alex Porter is restricted to light duties after landing on his head during a casual ride last week.
Just was eating a muesli bar, and then next thing I know, I'm halfway in the air thinking this feels a bit weird, and then just head first into the ground.
The concussion he suffered, another snag in a crazy year that's already provided unthinkable surprises. Even before the Tokyo Olympics were postponed, our team pursuit riders experienced a rude awakening at February's World Championships when they finished a distant fourth to Denmark, who smashed Australia's world record by nearly 4 seconds.
We weren't going there planning to win. Our goal was always Tokyo, but yeah, we weren't expecting people to go that fast. It's definitely made us rethink a few things, but if anything, it's just made us hungrier. We've now, relived that feeling of not being on the top step, and it's just made us not want to be in that position ever again.
We were sort of world leaders for a couple of years there, and obviously when you're a world leader in something, the rest of the competition either copies or keeps chasing you. So it's up to us now to evolve that and make some steps forward.
One of the many challenges now is the lack of racing in the build-up to next year's Olympics. The only international competition the Aussies are likely to have is against New Zealand in May.
But the painful World Championship campaign seems to have provided all the motivation they need.
We have times in our head that we think we can do come Tokyo, and it's faster than what the world record is currently.
Yeah, we'll be on it, and certainly going faster than 3:45.
So it's just incredible how much that record has dropped these past few years. And those Aussie boys, it's a different feeling for them, not being the pace setters anymore.
Oh, well, they've got all of this year. Yep. And then next year, hopefully, we go for gold.
Hopefully Tokyo Olympics go ahead.
That would be nice.
Yeah, they have some pretty strong motivation.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, Nikki. Do stay with us. We'll check to see how the roads are looking this afternoon. Also coming up, the Panda trio born during the pandemic in China. And Amelia will have the latest weather forecast.
It's already been a season like no other.
I've been kicking the footy with my kids.
I've been playing in the backyard.
But the time has come.
Now we're back.
We can't wait to be on the field.
To witness them in battle, there's nothing on earth like it. When they cross that white line, they become something else.
There it is, there it is! Got to get going, I've got to be bold.
And he's got it. When the footy returns, go to the footy on 7.
Go to the footy on 7.
Go to the footy on 7.
The season returns Thursday, June 11.
Jimbo, off to work we go. Jimbo, off to work we go. Jimbo, off to work we go.
Jim's Mowing for all your gardening needs. At Barbecues Galore, we've got a huge range of wood heaters to keep you cosy this winter. With traditional styles, modern sleek design, and up to 15 years warranty, there's something to suit every room. Come into Barbecues Galore, the home of wood heating.
If you have a serious ongoing condition like osteoporosis, don't put your health on hold.
Medical authorities are urging you to keep in contact with your GP and stay on your medications.
Call your doctor today to stay treated and stay safe.
For making sense of a changing world. For knowing where you stand on the big issues. For understanding what's next. For the edge you need. The Australian. For the informed Australian.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
Chloe and Zoe are twins and Amy customers, so you have the same taste.
We love our HD, LED, LCD, 4K, Pixel TVs. Oh, and Barney and Rubble love the dog channel.
Do you choose to save now or later on your insurance?
Later.
Buy a home or car insurance policy and Amy Flexi Premiums lets you vary your excess to save now or later. Choose a higher excess to save now or choose a lower excess to save at claim time.
You're with Amy.
With a world of knowledge.
The black drongo is a bird species native to which continent? Stop the clock. You flaming drongo.
New The Chase, weekdays on 7.
This weather report proudly brought to you by Australian Red Cross.
Get breaking news for Adelaide and South Australia on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. For news as it happens, join 7 News Adelaide on social media.
Good afternoon, Bethany Hisker with your latest traffic. Thanks to Mortgage Choice. You'll find roadworks on Prospect Road between Barton Terrace West and Fitzroy Terrace, so expect delays and restrictions there. You'll also find some urgent gasworks on North Terrace near Decatterville Terrace. Mortgage Choice will compare hundreds of home loans to find the right one for you at no cost to you for low-rate home loans and cashback offers from selected lenders. Visit mortgagechoice.com.au. That's the latest Adelaide traffic. Now back to you, Rosanna.
Thank you, Bethany. Now, life seems pretty good for this trio of pandas. The cubs were born during China's coronavirus outbreak. Two of them are twins. The other arrived several days later. The Breeding and Research Centre where they were born has released this video marking their first Children's Day. Goodness gracious, you just want to cuddle one of those, wouldn't you, Amelia? We had a grey start this morning, didn't we?
We did, Rosanna. It was pretty daggy this morning, especially about the hills, with a road weather alert issued for low visibility there. It was a foggy drive in Golden Grove with low cloud and drizzle, making it difficult to see down the road. In the city, that cloud cover kept a bit of yesterday's warmth, if you can call it that, in. Our low was 10.6 degrees and a bit of sunshine around lunchtime helped us hit a top of 16.7. Now, we've seen showers on and off today, but mostly the light pesky stuff. Falls have been around 1 millimetre or less about our suburbs, 3.5 millimetres at Mount Lofty. Right now in the city, it's 14 degrees, 15 in Melbourne. Elsewhere, and showers are just off the coast of Sydney at the moment. It's windy there too. Check out the impact cold southwesterly winds are having on the temperature. Even though it's 14 degrees, it feels closer to 6 as the southeast of the country sits sandwiched between a low pressure system and a high, and that it's filtering cold southwesterlies through. We'll see a weak trough clip the south of our state tonight before that high pressure system heads further east, working to clear skies by Thursday and Friday. But for now, it's looking mostly fine across our far north tomorrow. Clearer skies up north could lead to early frost in some parts, while fog is forecast over areas west of Spencer Gulf. Showers are still a chance about the coast as well and parts of the Mount Lofty ranges. Another grey day ahead as well. 18's the forecast top for Ceduna and Port Augusta, 17 for Port Pirie and Kadina, 14 for Clare, just 13 in Uriutpa, 16 for Victor Harbour and Murray Bridge, 15 for Kingscote, Naracoorte and for Mount Gambier. In the city, and these grey skies will keep us insulated overnight again, stopping the day's heat from escaping. So another low around 10 degrees is tipped. With that cloud around, we could see another shower in the morning, probably about the hills and southern suburbs. 16's the forecast top. But if this weather is wearing thin on you, Rosanna, good news, because we've got a little bit of sunshine to end the week.
Bit of sunshine always helps. Thank you very much, Amelia. And that's all from the afternoon news team. Jane, we'll have our next bulletin at 6 from me. It's bye for now.
Are you ready?